I'm Rick Harsch, author of The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas and the Assassination of Olaf Palme, among others, Skulls of Istria, and so on. And my masterclass has just started. Today's. And I want to remind you that you can skip this ad in 3 days. And I also want to remind you of why I started this masterclass. Because first, I wanted to tell writers to ignore all masterclasses and all advice from writers. Never read a book on writing. And best advice I could give you about writing is be free. Okay, so with that preface out of the way, today's masterclass is brought to you by me, because there's no one else who can do it. It was ignited. This is fiery, by a suspicious character named Steven, or is it Steven? But it's PH, but the last name is Orena. So we don't know what we're dealing with here in terms of ethnicity. But we don't care, do we? Not yet. Let's see what he has to ask. This is sort of an interrogation. He asks 6 questions. Number 1 is, do you start with a kernel of an idea, or do you have a story outlined before you begin to write? Now, false dichotomy, Stephen, or Stefano, or Dr. Orena, because if a story isn't outlined before I write, that doesn't mean I have just the kernel of the idea. I may have all the elements that would go into an outline scattered about. But I would have to tell you that it varies from book to book. Like Skulls of Istria, there was a theme I wanted to get to. Largely, the theme was the agony of the engaged political person in the world of today, in which personal action accomplishes very little, and the story that led to that was just right there. So the answer is some people, I think, need an outline. How I wouldn't know about starting with a kernel of an idea. I don't know about that, but I think a lot of writers absolutely have to have an outline. Although I've just come across someone who's talked about a novel he's writing, and he just kind of realized that he had the makings of a novel because his stories all involved something connected. So it can go all sorts of ways. There's certainly, see, this is why I don't like master's classes, because, what if somebody said, you must have a kernel of an idea, and then you write your outline? Well, that may work for some people, but it certainly isn't the way to write. There is no way to write other than using letters and words. And even then, it's not entirely 100% foolproof. So number 2, have family or friends served as characters in your writing, and has that led to problems? You're going to find out. No, you have found out. Maybe you already know, because in Olaf Palme, I wanted to put, I got almost everybody on here has really contributed. But I admit there are some ghosts, some people who got on here because they were maybe going to write something that were probably going to. Anyway, I wanted to put my family on here. I mean, how many chances do you get to have your name on a book? But my family's all politically far to the right of me. For that matter, Bernie Sanders is a little bit right of me. More than a little bit. But anyway, I like him. He's a nice, I love the way he talks. And Alexandria Cortez, another one, love her, but she's a little bit to the right of me. But in this book, Olaf starts with my prologue, and then there's a preface, I'm Harsch, family Thanksgiving, and this is basically autobiographical. It really captured them, and they were still angry. They were still angry. So friends, yeah, friends love it when they're like one guy. In one novel, his wife is referred to by a Arletonian nickname, the brilliant redhead, and he thought that was just hilarious. He was in it, and I gave him a twin brother, and anyway, yeah, people love it. They love it, but they're not going to get the naturalistic treatment either. So yeah, most people really love that. But this is a very political book, and among other things, talks. It's a lot about the nature of writing. Is in this book. By the way, here's the second one. Stephen Orania ordered this, and I'm going to pack it up after this video. I'm going to pack it up and take off. Anyway, okay. He ordered a couple others. Let's see if I have them here. Ah, yeah, okay. Stephen, let's make your pile before, this Tendrolopolis, which I think Stephen did not like the cover. It's one of those covers you either love it or hate it, I think. But the thing is that the actual writing in it is first class, and so it's great that Stephen's buying this because he didn't like the cover, but he's trusting that it really is good writing. What else Stephen also ordered Walk Like a Duck, which is great for me because I just love this book. It's my baseball semi-memoir, one season in my son's life in Italy. It is also like maybe the most anti-fascist, or the only truly, not the only one of the most anti-fascist baseball books you'll ever. Why is it so fat? Well, because I write about Italy and baseball and everything, everything. But it's a happy book, unlike many others. So here's your pile, Stephen. If you're watching this, probably, I don't know, Stephen might be one of these guys who just throws out questions to fuck with me and then never pays attention. But you never know. So, do you write only to serve your muse? Does a true artist need to care about his readers' needs? Um, I resist the impulse to give an absolute response, but my answer to that is I write only to serve my muse, if that's the term we're using, which is, okay. Does a true artist need to care about his readers' needs? I don't know. I mean, a doctor cares about his patient's needs, but the patients come in and talk to the doctor. So, I care about my readers' needs. We're about to put out uh, a, a short Vardaman novel, Alone, that was part of Angel of Sodom. And we have a couple readers who can't read the small font, so we're going to put out a large font, maybe just 20 copies, version of An Angel of Sodom because of our readers. But otherwise, no. I think the first time I was conscious of writing for someone, I was thinking, God, I hope Dr. Pemberton likes this. He was a history professor who introduced me to writers such as Henry Miller and Celine, and he loved literature as much as history, and so in the early days, I wrote to please Dr. Pemberton, but otherwise, I think no. You can't you can't worry about your readers' needs. You write the best you can, and you hope that your readers are there. And one time a friend of mine said that, Rick, you're writing for a global readership of maybe 3,000 people. And but I was writing what I thought I should be writing, and 3,000 people. Well, probably of those, maybe 12 will find the book. But if you don't worry about that, you're going to. I mean, if you worry about the opposite of that, if you worry about your readers, you're going to end up at best Dan Brown, and computer went off. Okay, How inauthentic is it for a writer to adopt a foreign persona in order to be taken seriously by present day critics? Very. As inauthentic as it gets. Um, I, okay, e.g., gay, Latino, female, etc. Is this terrible or just good strategy? Strategy is just in this regard. It redounds to the last question. Um, I'm not saying fuck the reader. I'm saying be the writer, and uh, I have uh, let's see. I My first published novel had a gay man in it called the Fag with No Eyebrows, an Arletonian nickname, and I asked him, Jimmy, can I use a fag with no eyebrows in this book? Yeah, sure. You know, um, so there are just so many ways to adopt foreign persona. Um, Nancy Reagan is a very personified character in the assassination of Olaf Palme. She gets some really great stuff in there, but she's ugly. I mean, it's ugly. It's funny too, but ugly. I mean, it's dark because this is very anti-Reagan, um, which would lead to the next question. Readers would like to know why the move to Slovenia. Well, it starts with Ronald Reagan and goes from there. So it's political and cultural. I was raised in a suburb, and from an early age, I just wanted badly, a suburb of Chicago. I wanted badly to see lizards, monkeys, palm trees, and so I've always had a thing for, the tropics. I've gone to India many times. Half my family is Indian, and I mean, I married into an Indian family, and so we live on the Mediterranean, which was kind of it ain't paradise economically because we live in Slovenia, which is a shithole run by a fascist, more or less. And but it's not a shithole otherwise. It's a beautiful place. The people are marvelous. It's a new culture, and it's been a fantastic move. We got lucky with our apartment here in Isla. We have a view of the sea, and otherwise it's fantastic. I got to get to the last one. I'm sorry, because I have to be under 15 minutes, or else I think I don't know what it happens, but there's something dark that happens with Facebook or no YouTube. YouTube, they're okay, as long as you use their tube. They call it my tube, but anyway. Okay, number 6. You're almost 62. How is your prostate holding up? Well, that's a great question, and I appreciate it. I had a conversation with my doctor about the efficacy of rubber bands, and I was describing all the places because we're poor, we're very poor in here. We struggle to pay rent basically every month, and we use rubber bands for all kinds of things. Like even the shower nozzle has to be kept tight in order to work. I just have all these rubber bands on it so that the cover stays on, and so it'll spray. And I was having this conversation with my doctor, and he said, "Rubber bands, rubber bands. That's what we'll do." And I had an operation then and there in which my prostate was a little bit big, but all the PR numbers, the public relations numbers, were all good. And so he said, "You're okay." But then he somehow used rubber bands to arrange to kind of lift it up. And so the bowel movements are excellent, fantastic. I've had really, really good luck. I have to go in and get the rubber bands changed as soon as I feel it drop. So, Stephen Arena, thank you. Any young writers out there, trust me. I'll be back with more about race and ethnicity, and it's all Looney Tunes, man. Okay, bye. Thanks.